Engaged in warlike activity, there is no question of going in, sending the police in to arrest them. It's ridiculous. We are bombing these people for good reason, because it's not possible to deal with them in any other way. If there are British people involved in that, they must take their fate as it's dealt with. But if, as in a proper war, if we capture people, then we cannot. Better than that. Well, we cannot then start executing them in cold blood.
So let me just ask on that. Is that the distinction, Melanie? If you catch the people, then you have to put them on trial. You can't just kill them. And if you don't catch them, you can kill them. Doesn't that create an incentive not to catch them?
I don't think it necessarily creates an incentive not to catch them any more than any theatre of war creates an incentive not to catch people. You are dealing with a situation as it is. In an ordinary conventional war, sometimes people are captured. We call them prisoners. They're dealt with under the Geneva Conventions. Now, clearly, there are difficulties about the Geneva Convention in these circumstances because they're not state soldiers. But nevertheless, in moral terms, it remains the case that if you only kill people if you have no alternative.
So, if these two hadn't been caught, would you be okay with having them killed?
Absolutely. If they are engaged by a drone, well, why not by a drone? Why is a drone any more immoral?
No, it's not. I'm just
putting our own soldiers at risk to kill them.
Well, I'm minded to agree with Melanie on that, about if these two had been still operational as Islamic State fighters on the ground in Syria, we knew they were there and we knew we could end it. Then what is your problem with that, Philippe?
My problem with that is, where do you draw the line?
Well, but
there are people doing these kinds of acts all over the world.
They're at war and we're at war with them.
There are people engaged in these kinds of acts at home in the United Kingdom. Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the distinctions as to when we exercise criminal justice and when we kill people? Now, I'm not saying, one of the young women I've come to know very well, Louisa, the first time I met her, I said to her, what do you want to do to these people who have raped you hundreds of times? A remarkable human being, a remarkable young woman. She looked at me and she said, Philippe, I don't give a toss about your sense of justice. I just want them dead. And I have to say, at the moment she said that to me, it was impossible for me, as a father of young women of that age, to see it any other way. And then I paused and I said to myself, but hang on a second. What's the difference between that and the situation we found ourselves in back in 1945? Winston Churchill wanted to line up the Nazi leaders and execute them, and he didn't do it. There was a pause, and it's not directly analogous, but there are similar issues at play here. It's about our essential values and who we are.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.